More than 70 Chinese and international car makers are showcasing their latest models at the Shanghai Auto Show this week, intensifying what's already strong competition in the EV space, albeit with one big name conspicuous in its absence. Well, I don't know, genuinely, who's the big name, Lin? Lin joins us live from Shanghai with more. They've kept me on tenterhooks. I don't know who the big name conspicuous by their absence is.
Oh, come on, Steve, you know. It's Tesla, of course. Tesla is not here at the Shanghai Auto Show. In fact, Tesla hasn't been at any of the Chinese auto shows for the last 3 years. Now, we don't, of course, have a reason or know what the official reason here is, but keep in mind that the last time that they were here, which was in 2021, there was an incident where there was a protester that stood up on one of their vehicles and complained about some safety issues as well. But, you know, of course, when we look at the situation involving Tesla and, of course, a lot of the so-called legacy foreign automakers, the Europeans, the Japanese, the Koreans and so forth, you know, this is one of the big themes that we're tracking at this show this week, the dichotomy of, you know, a lot of these Chinese EV companies really wanting to show the world the innovations, the latest that they have in terms of their models and their range, and really this kind of pushback or comeback coming through from these so-called legacy OEMs to try and win back the Chinese customer as well. And, you know, I think the other thing that really kind of highlights a sense of the times here is that in decades past, it's really been about the European car makers building these, you know, JVs with the Chinese to teach them how to make cars, really. And then now in the last certainly few months and weeks, we've been increasingly hearing about European automakers, BMW, Volkswagen and so forth, linking up strategically with Chinese companies to try and gain some of that technology. Because as far as the market is here, the biggest car market in the world, it's all about connectivity. One executive said to me that they really see the future of mobility as a smartphone on wheels, that the Chinese customer wants the digital experience. So that is all in terms of software, in terms of entertainment, in terms of some of the safety features as well. And that's where the Chinese have really been making their strides. But domestically, of course, as I said, it's a fierce and it's been a very brutal competition. Just a couple of days ago, we heard from a Chinese professor during a panel discussion where he was talking about the big three Chinese EV startups. That's NIO, XPeng, as well as Li Auto. And he said if they don't start delivering 2 million units a year, that he doesn't see that they are going to survive in the longer term because of the scale of the R&D that is required to continue to compete in this market. And I put that exclusively to the CEO and founder of NIO, one of those big three, William Li. I also asked him, given all of the risks on the geopolitics, on the trade and so forth, whether they are sticking to their break-even target of this year. Let's watch.
We've set a
target that we are going to make even in Q4 this year. We are confident to achieve this goal. We have 9 models to be delivered this year, like the ET5 behind me as the first one, Firefly as the second one, and another 7 models to be delivered. This year is going to be a year full of new products. Secondly, we have more technologies to be applied this year. For example, our first 5nm intelligent driving chip for automobiles. Using self-designed chips will help increase our gross margin largely. Our new models this year with different position is going to increase our gross margin. So there will be steady improvement in our gross margin this year. Thirdly, as we mentioned earlier, we will build battery swapping stations in every county of China's 27 provincial level zones. The battery swapping network can be a strong channel for us to sell cars with network effect. So we believe this will help boost our sales. Lastly, and most importantly, we are managing expenditures internally. Sales expenditure, R&D expenditure. We go through deeper and more precise management. Try to increase ROI for what we invest and save unnecessary expenditures. So overall, we are very confident to achieve the profit revenue in Q4.
So target in terms of break even by the end of this year, and you don't see what we're seeing in terms of the tariff impact impacting that at all?
对我们应该没什么影响。
It doesn't have much impact on us, as we only import a few parts from the US. It's not gonna impact our performance.
Are you impacted at all by the US tariffs that's been announced in the last few weeks?
从目前来讲的话
For now, there's no particular impact on the supply side, and we don't sell cars in the US, so overall, not much impact.
来讲的话没有什么影响。
And, you know, when we talk about some of the themes that I'm seeing in the conversations I'm having with top executives in this sector, it's that is one of them, the fact that they say, look, you know, we weren't in the Chinese market to begin with because we were still talking about pretty high tariffs under the Biden administration. Under the US president, you know, add on top of that another 145%. That's not really a viable market for us. So we are wanting to continue to scale. Sure, this is the biggest market, but we are certainly looking overseas. And Europe continually is being brought up in the conversation as where they see the further expansion to come. You know, they talk about the fact that they are, particularly the premium EVs, welcoming the fact that the EU and Beijing are talking about potentially replacing these duties with that minimum price instead for EVs. And they really are focused in on the European market, Steve.
Yeah, I've got so many questions for you. It's going to have to wait. I know you're going to join us in the next hour. Brilliant work, Lin. What a fascinating space to be covering at the moment. Thank you very much indeed for your coverage.